Tanya asks us both, with life feeling like it's flying by, how do you ground yourselves to take in the right now?
Mushrooms. Is that the wrong answer?
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
I saw your post for the vibrator. We love a paid post for a vibrator, guys.
Thank you for liking it and commenting. I appreciate it.
I could share it too, but I don't know if they paid you enough. You know what I mean? If you tell me that they really showed up for you, then I'm happy to do it. But
we'll talk. We'll talk about paid posts, and you can educate me more. Because I know a little bit from hanging around with you, but I definitely don't know everything. So
I hope that more writers and actors during this time off, people who aren't huge stars, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking,
people that micro influence.
Exactly. I would hope that brands are looking at those people right now for their fall posts.
Yeah.
Q3 or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah. I was having a big talk with our friend Ben Acker yesterday about
how is Ben?
He's good, I think. He's good, but like everyone, he's on strike and he's looking for ways to make ends meet. And I think he was saying that his brother wants him to become a notary public, which I was like, oh, that's a cool job. But then we were also just talking about how Ben writes for this show, Thrilling Adventure Hour, that we've talked about a million times. And Busy is like a longtime member of the repertory, the Work Juice Players. And we were just talking about how that show has such a big and loyal audience, but how they don't really know Ben as a person at all. And we were just wondering if there's any value to people getting to know him as a person and not just the writer behind everything, one of the writers, because his partner Ben also writes. But so we were just talking about that.
You know what I think is interesting?
What?
Well, I think that a lot of really, and it's antithetical to most writers' personalities, like Mark and Abby long ago, guys. And I'm talking about my ex-husband, Mark, and his longtime writing and now directing partner, Abby.
Yes.
Years and years ago, people were like, you should get a publicist. You guys should do more publicity. You should talk about your story because they have such a good story. They met in film school. They became collaborators. They started a romantic relationship that lasted many years. They got engaged. And the day before the invitations were going out, 6 weeks before the wedding, she was like, we've made a mistake.
Wow.
We can't get married. And then, wildly, they continued to work together forever, which is so cool and it speaks to, again, the evolved nature of Mark Silverstein.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
And also it's just an interesting story. I was trying to find something in that. It's not what I was trying to find.
That's really interesting. Did they ever try to write that movie of themselves?
They wrote it as it was a TV show, and I almost got recast as Abby because they had to recast the lead of the pilot at one point. Oh. And they were already shooting the pilot and they were in San Diego shooting it, but I went in for Abby and I was one of the final people to maybe literally play Abby, which is so weird. Yeah. The pilot was called Splitsville. It didn't get picked up, but my whole point back to wrap around is that they always were like, no, we don't want to do publicity. We don't want to be out there known. But when you look at these directors or writers who create sort of empires, they really let their personalities out there. Ryan Murphy, you know who he is. Shonda, you know who she is. I don't even need to say her fucking last name. Darren Aronofsky, like a lot of these people who they sort of gravitate toward the limelight as writer, directors, or, creators, as opposed to talent, like on camera talent.
Yeah.
They end up having these like whole other careers because of it. But I think it's very opposite of what most writers want to do. They don't want to be like Mark has no desire to give an interview.
Yeah, most writers that I know are kind of introverts, and that's why they became writers in the first place, because it allowed them to get something out without having to do it with their personality.
What is Mark?
Is that rude to say?
Mark is an introvert who likes to surround himself with extroverts.
Yeah.
But he does not want to, and he likes within like a safe space to be an extrovert.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't want to like have the limelight himself. That's too much for him.
Yeah.
That's like cricket. It's like cricket's like that.
Yes, I understand 100%. It's interesting, those dynamics. But yeah, I think there is something to, like, we love knowing the people that listen to this podcast and like talking to you guys all the time. But it's interesting to me sometimes, like, people that make stuff, they don't really know the people at all they do, but they don't, like it's interesting. But I think there's some value to like extending to know the people that are like consuming your stuff, because I think it makes you better. And I also think that, I don't know, people just like to be involved in stuff and like feel like they're a part of something. And like, I want to be a part of something too. So win-win.
Well, honey, we all want to be a part of something. That's my,
but
that's my Kim Cattrall for you.
Kim Cattrall impressions are like, I feel like Kim Cattrall is doing an impression of like, I don't know, like Mae West or something, right? She's doing like, honey, why don't you come up and see me sometime?
Well, I think at this point, Kim Cattrall's doing an impression of Kim Cattrall.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Sometimes people hit that point. I sometimes hit that point myself. Sometimes I'm like, this is just... Now I'm just doing Busy Phillips. Like, this is like, it's too far. We've gone too far.
But this all is a great, or I don't want to say great. You tell me. I'm not the one that gets to say whether it's great or not. But this is a decent introduction for today's episode, which is we asked you guys if you had any questions for us to answer. For you, things that you've been dying to ask us.
Are we airing this one this week?
I don't know. Do you want to?
I don't know. I just want to give a little bit of a State of the Union in case anyone might be curious. But the good news is I asked RG to come pack for me for Sweden and put together outfits.
Oh,
so
great.
I'm not going to be concerned about that.
Okay, good.
We booked our trip. Like, we have places to stay, and I'm really grateful for you guys supporting the podcast in the next couple of weeks when we're not doing it live, because I just think I need a beat to like really move through every emotion and process, like my kid going to boarding school in a different country and like having to get on that plane the day after we move her in and leave the country that she's going to stay in. It's big. It's like a lot, I think. And I'm really grateful to Mark and Cricket for being like so great, and also gonna like that they're going to be there,
Yeah.
But I just want to say thank you to like all of you for your never-ending support of my fucking beautiful, complicated family. And also, if you have anyone to set me up with, I'll be ready when I come back.
I'm always looking out there on the picket lines.
I know, but here's the problem.
I have my faves. I'm always going to pitch an offbeat pick for you.
Listen, that
you
one
know
guy
what I mean?
that you pitched not long ago, or the only guy I think you've pitched.
Yeah.
If he ever comes to New York, I would love to see him. But
here is what I base my picks on. I always like an offbeat pick for someone. And this is all my girlfriends. I'm always suggesting like, what about this guy? What about this guy? Because here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at like, first of all, is the person like, do I think of them as someone that you could like get heart eyes for? You know what I mean? And sometimes like, I think it's immediate with someone. Like you just see someone and you're like, it's very hard not to blush around this person, et cetera, et cetera. But some people are like, it takes a minute. You have to give it a beat. And then you start to see things about them that you're like, oh, this is positive. This is positive. This is lovely. You know, and by the same token, you also can start to see things that like turn you off to a person. But my goal is always to suggest someone that has something so basic in common with you that no matter what, even if it's not a love match, like you went out and did this thing and like both had a great time, whether it's like, you know, this one person that I suggested for Busy is someone that she kind of knows, but he like is really into like he's a foodie, you know, and like knows fun restaurants and he's not a snob. So I'm like, this is so fun. Like you guys could, at the very least, if it's a dud, if you go on a date and it's a dud, you had a great dinner that someone put some thought into or whatever. Now you would have to go and tell me like if the dinner was great or if like he was a know-it-all about food or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But he doesn't strike me that way. But like, who knows? I mean, listen, the possibilities, I know it doesn't seem like it, but the possibilities are endless, which is so weird because, I mean, yes, I think so. I think, you know, who wouldn't want to take you out and have a good time with you?
No, I am the fucking best. That is 100% accurate. And I'm also like such a good girlfriend too, because I'm a Cancer.
Yeah.
And I'm really like, I'm a caretakey vibe. That's where I have to like be careful because sometimes I'm like, here's a project that I can take care of.
Right.
We don't need that. You know what? I think, no, we really don't. And I actually think that piece is like been healed quite a bit, you know?
Oh, good. For the record, I'm a terrible girlfriend. It's a good thing I haven't been one in a long time. I'm like a monster. And so
I just don't think that's true. I like actually just don't think that's true.
It really is like, I just don't suffer foolishness in dating at all. So like whoever has ever dated me has had to be very intrepid, and like gutsy. I'd even say to be like, whoa, you know, I mean,
wait, I don't understand. Explain it to me.
Like,
Can I just say to you, a friend of mine said to me, like, all these girls are, this is a guy, right?
Yeah.
But he wasn't, and I'm going to say a thing that's going to sound like everyone's going to be like, ew. He wasn't being gross. He literally was like, all these girls are like throwing themselves at me and I'm confused by it. Like, I don't even I don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
But I was like, what does that mean? Like, how does that, like, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how does that work? What does that mean?
Yeah.
What is throwing themselves at you? Am I doing that on accident to someone? I don't know. I mean, not right now because I don't have any
irons in the fire.
No,
yeah,
but I'm just saying, like, what does that mean to a guy? I was a little bit like doing my own thing while we were talking. Sorry. But I was like, I have follow-up questions. Like, I do want to know, like, how does that work? What's the story? I don't know. Anyway.
It could also be like, I mean, I don't know the man that you're talking about. It could also be like a confident interpretation
man is tough.
Okay.
Unclear.
Okay.
Not yet a man.
a young person.
Yeah, like,
I don't know
you
the person who you're talking about, but it could just be like a very confident interpretation of what's happening, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like-
also, sometimes like people are just being supportive and
Like
you're
women are being
everyone wants to
civil
fuck
to me.
Like it's just never been like my go-to has just never been, oh, everybody wants to fuck me, or these people want to, or anyone wants to fuck
Yeah.
me. Like
I
it is
understand
so, and it's really interesting because I know you guys get this, even if you've been partnered for a long time or whatever. Like I am just one of those people where my entire life I'm like surprised by it.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
get that.
wait, what? Oh no. Oh, you like me? Oh my God.
get
That's
that.
crazy. Anyway, so
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm a tough girlfriend because I'm not like, you know, when I was younger, there were a couple guys that like I played games with, you know, or I allowed games to be played and allowed myself to be like hurt. But like at that point, also like my life had just been so full of games and like puzzles and trying to parse out why people did the things that they did. And so like you know, later in my teen years, because I've been with my husband since I was a teenager, I just decided to draw very strict boundaries. Like, here's what we're not doing, you know? And so we're not
posting ourselves in bikinis, hanging out with men from our previous
luckily-
wild days.
Luckily,
Wait, no,
social media didn't exist back then. But things like, you know, we're not gonna punish me for having guy friends. We're not gonna question things that I'm wearing. You know what I mean? I know it sounds wild to be like, oh, you're just saying you wouldn't like let yourself be abused. Yeah, basically, that's basically it. But I'm sure I've talked about how I worked in a nursing home. I worked the night shift. I went to school during the day. My husband and I were dating, and like I barely slept for the first few years that I ever knew this guy. Like he was getting to know a person that like I didn't even know because I wasn't conscious enough to know what was going on. But this is just one example, but he loves to tell this story. At some point he had sold his car to buy me an engagement ring.
Oh my God. Is this a gift of the Magi shit?
No, not really. And it didn't matter because like we could just basically share a car because of like what my schedule was.
Right. Of course.
Yeah. But so anyway.
In New York.
This is actually still back in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
we could basically share a car and he would like drop me off for my shifts or whatever. And I was just exhausted. I was like a new mom, but like without the baby because I was operating on fumes at all times because I was so tired from going to work from 11 at night till 7 in the morning, then going right to school, still smelling like pureed food and pee.
I can't.
And then having classes all day. And then I'd do my homework after and I would try to sleep for a couple of hours. And so he would always come and sit with me during the time that I was trying to sleep for a couple reasons. Like he needed to give me a ride when I had to go to work, but also he didn't want me to oversleep and miss the beginning of my shift. And like he would wake me up for that shift. And I never wanted to go. I don't wake up easily as it is.
Yeah,
and
me neither.
I never wanted to wake up. And so every night he just saw like, honestly, like a little kid, like sometimes I cried because I was being woken up and I didn't want to wake up. And he would just handle it in such a gentle way. But one time I was sleeping and I had like probably 3 or 4 hours to sleep. I was sleeping in my bed and I would always be like, you can watch TV like quietly while you're not going to like sit here and stare at me sleeping. Sometimes he would read or whatever. But he like got up to get a drink or something and he came back and like sat back down on the bed, but he sat down kind of roughly and it jiggled the bed a little. And I sat like bolt upright in the bed and opened my eyes and said, "Are you done?" to him. And he was like, note to self, never jiggle the bed. So that's the kind of girlfriend I've been. But I haven't been a girlfriend in a long time. I've been a wife for a very long time. Anyway, do you want to get to some of these fun questions?
I do.
Okay.
June shine. We love you, June shine.
I
really
like
do
that. It's a
love-
little like Björk vibes.
Bjork. You know what I love about June shine?
What?
They now have broken into and successfully conquered the adult beverage canned cocktails, margaritas, that's what I'm really talking about,
Yeah,
but vodka sodas and rum cocktails.
Yes.
And it's like they do it the way that they do everything. Premium ingredients, no added sugar. I'm going to say it one more time. No added sugar, guys. And it's delicious and light and refreshing.
It's like summer in a can.
It's in the name, June Shine, guys. It is the best.
You're coming home in the summer after a long day. You want to have a cocktail with your dinner. It's so easy just to pop one open and have it with dinner and just feel like it's
A little
the perfect
over ice.
Yeah, perfect ending to the
Ooh.
day.
It
honestly.
is delicious, but it's also very light because it doesn't have added sugar. So it doesn't leave you with that like heaviness of I just drank a can full of sugar. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
also so great to bring to a party if you're invited somewhere. It's a huge crowd pleaser. Not that I want to share it, but.
Well, they've got now the canned cocktails. They have the margarita pack, 4 different flavors: spicy, mango, tropical, and lime. Personally, I don't go spicy, but that's just me. But mango, tropical, and lime, delicioso, made with
All for
high
you.
quality tequila. And for vodka fans, they've got the passion fruit vodka soda and a classic vodka mule. And then they've got Mai Tais. Oh.
So bringing it old school with a Mai Tai, it's so perfect.
And then they have this thing called Surfer on Acid, which is okay. I mean, it's intense with the naming of it, but it's basically a rum punch. And then they've got a mixed pack, which gives you like a little bit of everything. So you can try the tequila, vodka, rum. And yeah, I agree. We're coming up on Labor Day. I'm telling you, you're going to your Labor Day BBQs. Grab the mixed pack, bring it to the BBQ. It's going to be a hit.
And you can feel good about it too because they're carbon neutral through their partnership with Climate Neutral. They donate 1% of all sales to environmental nonprofits, and their brewery is powered 100% by renewable energy.
Come on, get out of here, June Shine. I love you. June Shine can be found in over 10,000 stores across the country. It's available at all the retailers you're already visiting for groceries and alcohol: Whole Foods, Target, Ralph's, Vons, Albertsons, Kroger, Wegmans, Total Wine, Bevmo, Safeway, and many more. But, and this is very important, we've worked out a special deal just for our listeners. At any store, you can buy one June Shine package and get the second for only a penny, 1 cent. Just a penny. You know how I feel about pennies. Pennies are lucky. Guys, that is $12 to $20 in value. We recommend trying one of the best-selling variety packs. It's a great way to try all of the delicious flavors. So go to juneshine.com/busy, and then you text them a photo of your receipt, and they will Venmo you directly and immediately. It's that easy. That's Juneshine, JUNESHINE.com/busy. Oh, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is sometimes what you need. You don't need worse help. You need better help. Anyway, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. We really do believe in therapy. We believe in getting help when you need it. Listen, sometimes in life, things pop up. You're faced with difficult choices. Path forward isn't clear. Sometimes you're just like, I don't know what to do. I feel stuck. I don't know what to do about my career, my relationships. This entire episode today is like advice, you know? You're looking for something. I want to stay connected to what I really want. I want to be able to navigate life. I want to make decisions that align with my values. And here's the thing, therapy is really important in helping you develop and learn positive coping skills and how to set boundaries.
Yeah. We've all come a long way, I feel like, together, but we all have been through a lot and still have a long way to go. And therapy is just a great way to manage that.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of the fact that we're talking about accessing therapy.
Totally. Because therapy is not just for somebody with like severe mental illness or someone who's had a major trauma in their life. Like therapy is useful for a person who is just trying to exist in this world every day.
Therapy's for everybody.
It is literally for everyone. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, you should give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient and flexible and suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched with a licensed therapist, and then you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge for whatever reason. Guys, I'm just encouraging you, let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/busy today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/busy.
Tanya asks us both, with life feeling like it's flying by, how do you ground yourselves to take in the right now?
Mushrooms. Is that the wrong answer? No, it's the right answer.
No, that's a great answer.
I think it's true. No, I feel like here's what I genuinely think. Like pre and post pandemic are two different people. What's the word that I'm even looking for? I can't, like, I'm like,
it's two different eras.
Two different worlds. Like,
yeah.
And I look back on my early 30s and mid 30s and even sort of some of my late 30s.
Yeah.
And I do think that I like sort of was missing the piece of the equation, which you're speaking to, which is that it's going so fast.
Yeah.
And I think just that acknowledgement means that you're paying attention and you're in the present.
Right.
Is what I think.
Yeah.
But I think I think there are also lots of tools. And I don't know about you, but like for me, I try to really listen to people when I'm being aware. I mean, when I'm not, then I'm just on my phone looking at Instagram or whatever. But like, it's true.
Yeah.
But I try to I've been trying more and more to make those decisions. Like if I go out with a friend of mine that I haven't seen in a long time, like is my phone on the table or is my phone in my purse? Because I think that that's one of the things that like has pulled us out of the present.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah. Well, for sure, because it's like a million timelines live in your phone. You know what I mean? And you're just hopping
Holy
around.
Shit.
Do you remember that show Quantum Leap? Or like, did you watch
Remember it?
Remember it?
What are you talking about? It's my I wanted to reboot Quantum Leap.
They
for a while.
Reboot it. They did reboot it, but it wasn't as beloved as.
Was it me?
As
was I there?
It wasn't
No.
you, but maybe in another timeline. But this is what I'm saying. Like your phone is like a little portal to a million different timelines, and you're in control of it. And so you're jumping around everywhere. But the thing is, like,
time travel is real now. That's true. You're right.
It's true.
That's wild.
But it's like, why are you doing it? Like, what are you getting from it? And so I think, like, I just have to strive to be more intentional with that kind of thing. And I have to say to myself, like, and I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast, like, sometimes I'll get on TikTok and just to, like, regulate my emotions, to, like, numb myself out and almost like flatten my brain, I'll scroll through. I'll allow myself to scroll through. Do you have to limit it? Because the next thing you know, you could like look up and have spent 2 hours looking at nonsense, like randomly, like channel surfing, looking at nonsense on TikTok. You won't even remember half of what you saw.
Disassociative. It's like, it's a new way to disassociate. And like, I'm going to say something maybe controversial. I don't know. A little disassociation has never hurt a person. Like, I am a firm believer in like, if you need to disassociate for a minute or 2 or 10 or 30, fucking check out, man. Because
check out.
that is a defense, like helping you, right?
Yeah.
But you cannot live in that place. You just can't.
Right. And so that's what I think, that's how, to your question, Tanya, is like, I'm trying really hard not to waste a lot of my time. And also I'm trying to recognize the value in things that maybe in the past I would have said were a waste of time, but they're really not. Like when one of my like group chats blows up and I'm just getting message after message after message, it means that like my friends are talking about something and it seems fun, you know, like it's bubbling, the conversation's popping. And so I want to join in on that. And there have been times when I'm like, oh, I just was like texting with my friends or whatever. Yeah, but fuck that. You know, those are my friends. You know what I mean? Like, so I spent 30 minutes having a conversation with my friend. And I think because it's like in the mode of like text or whatever.
Well, and our generation. I think that younger generations don't feel the same. Like, I don't think they view it as like a waste.
Right. So I'm talking with my friends who deserve my time and attention. And, you know, and I think also sometimes I get down on it because it might be like spontaneous. And I'm like, I shouldn't have dropped what I was doing to do this. But absolutely I should have. Because like, what if a friend needed something? Or what if they just wanted to like talk about some movie star's haircut? You know, like both things I want to be in on. So, you know, so those are things that are okay. But like, I'm not getting any smarter scrolling TikTok or Instagram. Like it's useful for what it is, but I have to be careful to limit it. And I also think that if I want to like transport myself, sometimes maybe like a book is a good way. So I'm trying to like read more books and things like that. But also like if life is passing you by too fast, go stand and hand wash a sink full of dishes because nothing will make your life feel slower than doing that, you know? Like that's a real reality check. and a life slower downer.
But also it's like that's also just life too, right? Like we're all experiencing that feeling of like it's going too fast. It's going too fast. It's going too fast.
Because it is. It will. It
1,000
years wouldn't be enough if you're doing it right, you know?
1,000 years wouldn't be enough if you're doing it right. Caissie St. Ange, guys. Caissie St. Ange. All right, what's the next question?
Okay, Anonymous asks, how do you feel about separate bedrooms for a married couple been happily married for 25 years?
I don't even need to hear the rest.
Yeah.
Separate bedrooms, you've been married a day. Separate bedrooms, you've been married 25 years. Separate bedrooms, you're not married, but I don't give a fuck. I love it. Whatever works for you. No one says you have to sleep next to a person if it's something that's important to you. As long as you're having open communication, you're fucking, you're like co-parenting, you're doing all the other things. My God, sleep in separate bedrooms if that's for you. My parents have been married, you know, like 50, whatever, 4 years now, I think.
Yeah.
And I think they've had separate bedrooms literally like for maybe 30 of those years.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Like a long time. But I also have a very close friend who's been married a long time. She and her husband are super happy. They have children. They have sex, like, et cetera, et cetera. They have slept in separate bedrooms for 10 years.
Okay.
Because they have like different needs in the like mattress department.
Yeah.
And different sort of like sleep-ish schedules. And like one of them needs a lot of space. It's my friend. One of them needs a lot of like space and like to spread out in order to really get a good night's sleep.
Yes.
When I tell you it has not negatively affected their relationship at all, as long as you're like communicating, be like, and I would say maybe there's a moment where you're like, I need my person to sleep next to me and cuddle me.
Yeah.
But maybe
then
not.
just ask.
You
but
just
maybe.
ask. But
Who
maybe.
knows?
I'm just saying.
Who knows?
But I love it, guys. I love
agree.
it. If you have that ability and the privilege, Jesus.
I agree. It worked for the royal family in England.
It did not. It didn't.
I just would see that on The Crown, that the king's always going to his own bedroom and like poking in to say something to Queen Elizabeth, to slag someone off or whatever. But I just think that who cares what anyone thinks? She was saying it's awkward when the subject comes up. Don't talk about it. Don't it's nobody's beeswax. And I know married people that have separate homes, which is incredibly privileged, but they're wealthy enough to do it, and that's the way that it works best for them. And they are crazy about each other.
Married people who consider themselves divorced who share a home.
Any way that works for you is
you know
good.
what? All bets are off.
All right. Next question. Hayden's asking me, what's the one most important thing you would want someone to know about Prince who wasn't already a fan?
Oh, yeah. That's a good question. I like that.
What I would want someone to know about Prince who isn't already a fan is that he was incredibly philanthropic. He had a number of causes that he was really supportive of. And I'm not sure if I've told this story on the podcast before, and I hope she doesn't mind. I'm going to be vague about it. But this friend of mine who ran an organization for Black kids that were interested in computers. She saw that other people had organizations, but she thought that she could do it better. She thought that that she had a better idea. And so she just started this organization on her own, in addition to her really hard job. And at some point she noticed that her funding had taken a hit because she existed on donations. And she noticed that the donations had dropped quite a bit. And so she's a mad genius, right? So she hadn't been keeping close track of the donations. She was just happy to see money was coming in, and then she was putting it out into the organization. So then she went back with an eye toward figuring out why there wasn't as much money as there had been. And she found a bunch of canceled checks that were non-specific to her, but they were in the amount of $7,000 each, and they were from Minneapolis. They weren't from Minneapolis. They were from the address of Paisley Park, but it didn't say Paisley Park. It didn't say Prince. Mm-hmm. And so she brought the checks to me, and she was like, "Are these what I think they are?" And I was like, "Yes, that's exactly what they are." And she was like, "Why $7,000?" And I was like, 7 was his favorite number. And so that's that. He did that for so many people. He was always paying off someone's mortgage, paying a hospital bill for someone, putting someone through school. That's what I'd want you to know about him.
I love that.
Fizzy, Hayden also wants to know from you, what's your top New York City recs? They went to see A Strange Loop after you recommended it, and it was the best play they've ever seen.
Wow, wow, wow. Oh, my God. I mean, I think that if you're here and the weather is nice, the rooftop of the Restoration Hardware store in Meatpacking is literally the greatest trick.
Love it.
It's so great. Go have a cocktail and a cheese plate on the roof of the Restoration Hardware store in Chelsea. And people are it's Meatpacking. And people are like, the Restoration Hardware store? Yeah. Yeah, guys. I mean, unless you're a member of the Soho House next door, which has the exact same roof.
But why would you be? Why wouldn't you go to Restoration Hardware?
Go to the fucking RH rooftop.
Oh my gosh.
Have some wine, the cheese plate, charcuterie. They have a great burger.
My
Go to the
favorite
Whitney?
my favorite coffee shop in the city when I was working there, I don't know if it's still there, but the Cadillac dealership in Soho
Shut up. You're hilarious. No, I have no idea, but that's
had
really
an
funny.
amazing coffee shop. And me and my friend Taryn would go and sit there for fucking hours. It was so elegant and it was not crowded at all because no one realized it was a coffee shop. They always had art installations and exhibits, and then you could like go look at some Cadillacs. It was amazing.
I love that. I also love any like Jack's wife Frida is my go-to.
Yeah.
I'm apparently on the wall in Union Square.
Ooh.
Still haven't been there to see it.
Gotta
but I
get
am
there.
I gotta get there. But yeah, like I think also like all of the art galleries in Chelsea, in like West Chelsea are incredible and so fun. And you can just like go into any of
Yeah.
them. Like it's not like it's literally like a free art exhibit.
Yeah.
All
and
the time.
There's so much to explore in Central Park. So many interesting monuments and statues and architectural wonders and also like just people being freaky on the lawns.
Yeah, I do love that. And wait, I do want to just tell you a story really fast.
Yeah.
I saw these tourists walking and they were like, I don't know, they were speaking English. Maybe they're British. They were like British or, yeah, they were British. And they saw a D'Agostino's like grocery store.
Yeah.
Which is just a grocery store here, guys. And like when you go in it, it's just a grocery store. It's not like that great. But it was like one that has kind of like a cute facade. And the guy was like, she was like, oh, is that a deli? And he's like, I don't know. It looks adorable. Let's go in there. And I just was like, oh my God, they're going into a grocery store. And then I was thinking about all the times like I've been a tourist in a foreign country. And I've been like, what is that adorable little hamlet? And they're like, that's just actually where we get our gas for, you know what I mean? Like, it was making me laugh so hard. Like, I almost wanted to be like, guys, no. Shh, don't go there.
The facade of D'Agostino's literally is a facade.
It's a facade. It was a facade. It's a facade. I know. Bless
It will
Dags.
trick you.
We
It
love
will
you.
trick
We
you.
love you. But no, it's just a grocery store. It's like not
right.
even the best grocery store.
Carolyn Kang. I love her. Hi, Carolyn. She asked, Caissie and Busy, what have you learned from working and being in business together? She's obsessed with female partnerships and thinks the best businesses come from them. Curious about how we work together, what our work dynamics are, roses and thorns, all the good stuff.
Well, I bet I have learned more than Caissie because Caissie has been, I don't know, doing what she does for so long. But I think that one thing that became really clear, like I just had a gut feeling about that, like Caissie was going to be the person that I needed to have on my side and like with me for this. And the reason why I was right and I didn't, that was just a total gut fucking instinct. It really was. I had no real basis for it other than we had a mutual friend and I knew that you were working at Watch What Happens Live. And while you hadn't like technically had the title showrunner yet, you hadn't.
Right.
Had you?
No, I hadn't. No.
Right. Because I remember that was like a thing. I was like, I knew that she was a boss and I knew that you could be a showrunner. And one thing that I learned from Caissie is that especially in entertainment, but I imagine that this sort of translates to all businesses and literally every aspect of life. A lot of times women won't have the title that is like sort of almost like required for the job or whatever from the company. And the fact of the matter is they don't have it because of lots of different reasons. You know, we had lots of like women of color in our, like, who would come in and they didn't have the title of like associate producer or whatever it was.
Or producer.
Or producer or whatever. And we would talk to them and listen to their experiences and know within, I would say, like 2.5 minutes, whether or not this person could like do the job that we were needing to fill. And then it just became a piece of like saying, this is the only person for it. And
Right.
like, just, I just feel like you showing me, because I've known that, right? Like, I think I've known that. Known that. I don't know. But I feel like you saying like, oh yeah, well, obviously, like lots of people don't get the titles because of their gender or their sexual identity or their race. And so now we're in this position, like this is such a blessing because we get to just be like, no, we need this person to the company.
Right.
And at no point did she, and that empowered me even more, ever question if the company would then doubt our ability to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I think okay, I'm going to give like an example of a thing that is going to be veiled thinly. You be the judge. But I know a woman who had a shot at doing like her own show. And instead of doing the thing that Caissie really encouraged me to follow and was her own fucking thing, which is, we're going to make sure this is like, you know, very diverse in every way, shape, and form with the people that we hire. Like, the woman that was getting her own show surrounded herself with like white men who've all done the thing before, who were like the experts that the company recommended. And it was like a disaster, I think. And it was very short-lived. A lot of people might say the same thing about ours. I would beg to differ. Ours was not a disaster. It was highly successful and it was short-lived, but that's out of our control. But my only point is that, like, I think sometimes as women, especially, and white women, me, I think we're sort of, you know, kind of like brainwashed into thinking by white supremacy and the patriarchy, by the white supremacist patriarchy, that we're so lucky to be here that in order for us to stay here, we have to uphold the rules. And the rules being like, we need to continue to like give white men their, like, the jobs that they quote unquote deserve, whatever. And not try to rock the boat by giving other people a shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that if we were to give other people a shot, that would diminish our chances. And you were like, we have no chance anyway. So let's just.
Well, what was interesting is like we had and in a way it was such a luxury because it was almost like a case study for everything we suspected because so many people applied to work on that show. So we got to get our eyes on so many resumes and you could just see it. Everyone that was applying for like a certain job, you would see that like the age of the white women or white people that were applying for a job would be a good 5 years younger than like this a black person applying for that job.
100%.
And it was because they had gotten stalled at a certain job title. You could just see it. And you'd be like, why have you been an associate producer for 5 years? Like, what happened? And then you would also see when we went to look for people in higher positions in the structure of a TV show like that, it would only be white applicants because everybody else had dropped out because they got exhausted by being stalled where they were. Mm-hmm. And so when you're looking for like higher positions, it's really tough to look for diverse candidates because because people get tired of it and they're like, fuck this. And they pack it in and they go and do something else where, where they can make headway more easily. And so I had so much respect for people that had hung in there and felt like they were really paying their dues. And so I wanted, and Busy wanted to really give some people like an opportunity to move up the ladder, that one position if we could. And also, I think it was very kind of gutsy of us because a lot of people, both like people that we sort of answered to and people that we worked with that we really respected were like running candidates by us who were like, oh, this is like a friend of mine, blah, blah, blah. She went to this college. He went to this college and, and he's like just graduating. And we were like, we're not hiring any of those people. Not this time. That person will be fine.
But I just back to like the question at hand, which is like, what did I learn from Caissie? Like, I think I truly don't know if I would have been able to like stand my ground on that stuff if you hadn't been the person that I was working with, that we weren't building the show together. I really don't know.
That makes me happy. Well,
I know, me too. Like, I'm so grateful. Jesus, are you kidding?
I thank you so much for like being supportive of that and you never once asked me like, can we just ease up a little bit on this because it's like irritating people. And I was just like, no, we can't. We just can't. We've eased up on it for too long. And so we just can't. I have learned so much from you. Like, I always admired how you really, when you clicked into show mode, how you were really thinking about it and like just putting yourself in it. Like I always admired how you ran through the show and were really like almost pretending you were in the show or feeling like you were in the show and like giving it your all in the run-throughs. Like, I think that's so great. Not a lot of people do that. And I think it's like, it's the real test of if something's working or not. And it was such a pleasure to see that. And I just learned a lot from you about like going for it and what it was worth it to stand up for, because there are things that I 100% are like, listen, you got to pick your battles. And like, this isn't a battle that I think that we should be fighting. But I think you really like stood up for so many things that I also might have just been like, oh, fuck it. Like, let's let that one go.
I was kind of a dick sometimes. You learned how to be a dick, which I think is so funny.
Here's the truth, Biz. I 100% am and always have been a dick. Like our colleague Nelson Walters has a notebook full of dickish things that I've said that he's written down that he thinks it's so funny when I'm a dick. But the thing is, like, I wouldn't use it for anything productive. I would just be a dick, like in my own head, like with what I was thinking, where you were like, no, we should tell them how we feel about this. And I was like, okay, yes, that is much more productive. Like, what's the sense of being passionate about something if you don't like wield that passion to any effect? If you just like internalize the passion or you perform it for your friend or whatever, that's not doing anything. So, I just learned from you that like, it's better to do something than to not. That sounds basic, but it's
better to do something than to not. I hope that answered your question, guys. Oh, it's about that time for me to go downstairs. I know Gina's going to be chomping at the bit to get into her Sundays.
Oh my gosh. The girls love Sundays so much.
Yeah, so does Gina. It's air-dried dog food made from a very short list of human-grade ingredients, which is like, honestly, one of the benefits for me. The other benefit is that it contains 90% meat, 10% vegetables, 0% synthetic nutrients. But it's like, it doesn't smell bad. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. It smells good. It's like smells fine. It smells like I'm not like gagging. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I've had some dog food in the past where I'm like, this is like fresh, good dog food and I want to vom. And that is not the experience with Sundays.
Yes, 100% agree on that.
Because unlike other fresh dog food, Sundays, zero prep, zero mess, zero stress. It's shelf stable. It makes it very easy to feed your baby dog top quality food. And the orders do ship straight to your door. So I don't ever worry about running out. And it costs 40% less than other healthy dog food brands because Sundays doesn't waste money shipping frozen packages. It's air-dried dog food. So it's easier to ship. They spend the money on what matters, sourcing the best all-natural ingredients for your baby dog that you love so much. Aww. Anyway, guys, Gina loves it. The girls love it. We worked out a special deal for our dog-loving listeners. Get 35% off your first order of Sundays. Go to sundaysfordogs.com/busy or use code BUSY at the checkout. That's sundaysfordogs.com/busy. Upgrade your pup to Sundays and feel good about the food you feed your dog. Okay, I'm going to have to do it. I'm sorry. Honey love, we love you. Oh, 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 honey love.
We do love Honey Love.
I know. Well, Honey Love's revolutionized the bra game. Truly.
For real.
Because
Truly.
you can upgrade from, an uncomfortable underwire and bulky fabrics that make you feel like your boobs are like trapping heat in them. Honey Love's bras feature supportive bonding that eliminates the need for underwire without sacrificing that lift. Guys, get that lift.
Right. Everything just feels so soft, but so secure, like a second skin. I've talked about the bigness of my boobs on this podcast. So to really feel like held in there, but so comfortable is a dream come true.
I mean, listen, for the more relaxed lounge bra, I like the V bra. It offers support of traditional bra, but it doesn't have any underwire. It lifts and separates molded cups, but it's not like a shelf-like bra that creates a uniboob. You know what I mean?
Right. I like the crossover bra because of the comfort, as I said, but it also like looks cute too. If it peeks out of the top of my top, I don't mind.
It has like that mesh, the mesh little thing.
Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Guys, we are really into Honey Love for the bras, but also that, they do have shapewear.
Yes,
they've
love
got
the shapewear too.
Leggings, like very breathable, versatile leggings. They've got anything you could need. Honestly, I want you to check it out. It is so next level comfortable. You're going to forget that you're wearing it. You're going to love the way that you look.
And it holds up really well.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
For a limited time, you can get Honey Love on sale. Get 20% off your entire order with our exclusive link, honeylove.com/best20. You can support our show and check them out at honeylove.com/best20. Just treat yourself to the best shapewear on the market and save 20% off at honeylove.com/best20. Cinched, snatched, lifted. It is hot girl season. Thanks to Honey Love. 20% off. honeylove.com/best20.
This question we've been getting, by the way, for months. This is from Jen in Brooklyn. We've been getting it so much. Who makes Busy's pink sunglasses?
Oh my God, you guys.
All the internet sleuthing. We know. We solved it on the Facebook group. Busy Phillips is doing. It's Emmanuel Khan.
That's right. It's
the
Emmanuel
pink sunglasses. But everybody has been asking. Everybody wants. I mean, I guess the real question is there like Emmanuel Khan are it's a luxury brand.
Yep.
Those are gorgeous. They're probably from, are they last season or are they this season? Or are they vintage?
Fucking no. No, they're
Who knows?
from Saks Fifth Avenue when I had some
Okay.
time to kill. And I went in there and I was looking at all these like really bright sunglasses. And I was like, I know this brand. I know Thierry Lasserie. I know Celine, obvious. I know all of these brands. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And the girl's like, so I think it actually is this season.
Oh, okay.
And I got them at Saks. And guys,
Okay.
they're expensive. But you know what? I love them. And so do you.
And if anyone out there finds like a good dupe, let us know. Are you against a dupe or do you like, that's one thing I'm always curious.
I literally
You
don't care. I don't care. Listen, here's what I'm going to say. It's complicated, right? Like,
Yes.
I am in a position in my life where where fast fashion is a thing I can say no to. If it's like, like I'm never buying anything from Shein. Like I'm not buying things from places where I'm like, oh, they're actively murdering, baby
Right.
gorillas in order to, like, I don't know,
Right.
whatever they're doing, destroying rainforests and like burning fossil fuels for fun, whatever it is.
Right.
So I really do try to stay away from like fast fashion. And I really do believe in investing in a thing and then having that thing be your thing,
Yeah.
And that being said, like, yeah, I don't care. Give a fuck, like whatever. A dupe is like great. And some things are just like fucking overpriced, but some things aren't. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like some things are like, they're priced that way because it's like it's a luxury item.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
know.
reading this novel right now called Counterfeit by Kristen Chen. And it's about like the counterfeit replica bag industry. It's so fun and good. But yeah, I always have, when I was like growing up in New York City, like knockoff Kate Spade bags were all the rage, but you could totally tell that they were knockoffs. They were like, it looked like a fabric wrapped cereal box, it wasn't great. That being said,
did you see, there was an article in the New York Times not long ago about how good the like super fake, they're called super fakes.
Yeah, they have grades of the
So now
the
like
replica.
the new things are these super fakes. And they had this quiz. Did I tell you this?
No.
They had this quiz on the New York Times of like, can you tell the real bag from the super fake?
Uh-huh.
And I got them all right.
You
Like,
did?
I could tell 100% of the time. I could tell.
You have
And it
to
wasn't
join
even
the
a question
FBI.
to me. I was just like, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. But like, also, I literally don't give a fuck. Like,
Right.
who cares? I don't know what any of it means. Nothing means anything anymore. Buy a dupe. Whatever.
Amy from Michigan says, Caissie, you always seem to give the best advice. You say things and they seem to just roll off your tongue so matter of factly, like you're a therapist. Where does it come from? Childhood trauma, probably. Probably. I think that one thing that I think about myself, like my original interest in working in entertainment was that I wanted to make children's entertainment, which is hilarious because I do think that like comedy variety is basically children's entertainment. And I have been lucky to do a couple things in the children's entertainment and teen entertainment space. And I think that the reason that I love it so much is because that was such a, well, we were talking about disassociation earlier. It was such a like emotionally regulatory.
Well, we were talking about disassociation earlier, so sure.
Right. Like entertainment was such a big deal. Entertainment and reading and the little magazines I would get my hands on and music. Barbies I've talked about were really like an escape for me, like just a portal to like another place where everything was good and safe and okay. And so I think that I still really identify with my childhood self and with kids in general. And so I think that whenever I'm giving advice or whatever, I am coming from a place of like what I felt like I needed. And also like, I think because of the way my childhood was, I had a lot of time on my own to sort of try to figure out why people did the things that they did. And I also have had to come to terms with the fact that like you can love someone and still be utterly shit at loving them or being in a relationship to them, whatever it is, whether you're a sibling or a parent or a grandparent. You can do the best you can, and it's still not what the person needs. It's not enough. And but that being said, like I've spent a lot of time being like, well, why are they like that? So I'm trying to always think like, first and foremost, for whoever wants the advice, I'm trying to think of like what they're needing. But then whenever someone has like a complaint against someone, I guess I'm always trying to think of like why they're doing that, like what the motivation is. Because sometimes I think it helps to know that thing that Busy and I say all the time, this has everything to do with who that person is and nothing to do with the person that you are. And it sucks that you're like getting the brunt of it, but
it's so hard. It's so hard when you get the brunt of it.
Yeah. So, that's my thinking when I'm giving advice. I don't always get it right, but I really do try. Nicole asks, aside from Busy tonight, still crying, what is a dream job you'd both love to work on? What's a dream job for you? I feel like you've had a lot of dream jobs.
Dream jobs. Dream jobs. I have a couple. I don't know. I have a few. Like one of them is that I have this movie that I like keep fucking around. Well, I'm doing well on it though. I got more outlined done.
Oh, great.
Which is good. Yeah. So there's a movie that I want to finish writing and I would love to direct it. That's my dream. That's my dream. I don't even want to be in it. There's not a part for me to be in it. There's not a part for me in the movie. Well, there could be, but I'm not going to, maybe. I might be in it, guys. I'm going to be in a scene. Listen, there's 2 scenes. It's 2 scenes. Guys, if I tell you it's 3.5, it's a cameo. Anyway, no, I really, really want to do it. I really want to do it. So I'm hopeful.
Okay. Then we just, we have to keep working toward that. I guess dream,
that's what I would like to do.
I've had a lot of dream jobs. I love the part of writing that is like brainstorming and collaborating with people when it's good. There's times when it absolutely sucks and you're just not like vibing with the people in the room or whatever. But for the most part, like I love the beginning when everybody's very excited by something and it's all possibility, and everybody's laughing and having a great time. I love that part of the job when anything's possible. And that's what happens at the beginning of every new TV show. I think I'm really good at starting TV shows. I think that is one of my strengths. And so that's always my dream when I get to work on a brand new show that everybody's like, what is this? Because I always feel like I'm one of the first people to figure out what it is and what it can be. But I also really love working on commercials. I've worked on some really cool commercials that are like so over the top. I worked on commercials that Penny Marshall directed and that Gail Mancuso directed. And
Gail forever.
Yeah, she's the best. And, with really big celebrities in the commercials and just doing wild things and like brands allowing you to do something that's really creative and funny is like a special kind of win, because it's hard enough on network TV, but brands have like, they have a very particular set of parameters. So getting them to agree to let you do anything a little edgy in a funny way that still like sells the product is a special kind of win. So I love that. But like, I don't know, like if if money was no object, I would probably also like to work in like an amusement park or something.
Really? I would not. I would not. I would not.
We were just talking about it. Like my friend is looking for a house and she found out that like one of the amusement parks is building a roller coaster really near to the house. And that's why the person is kind of selling. And I was like, I think I would love that.
Wait, you've got to be out of your mind. What are you talking about? That's crazy.
I think it would be so fun to hear people screaming. Anyway,
Caissie.
we'll see. We'll never know because that's not my house, and I don't know. But I have actually worked in an amusement park for extended time, not at an amusement park, but we did the Rosie O'Donnell show from a number of different amusement parks, and our offices were right in the midst of the park. And like one time we were there for a month, and it never really I never was driven to madness. The only thing I didn't like is we were in MGM Studios. That's where the monsters, right? The Universal Monsters. No, Universal Studios. I don't know. What's the theme
Monsters
park that has
Inc?
No.
Disney.
The monsters like Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein and stuff.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway, that's the only thing I didn't like. We were at the park that had the monsters, and the Frankenstein guy was always coming up to me and making Universal. He was always making Frankenstein noises, and finally, I was like, "You need to stop doing this. I don't like it." And then he never bothered me again.
You got to tell people.
And monsters.
And monsters. Okay, what's the next question?
What's your earliest memory of seeing a production on stage?
Oh, well, that's easy for me. Cats.
Oh, exciting.
In Chicago when I was a little kid. And then my grandma got mugged after.
Oh, no, that's terrible.
Yeah, but I mean, it made for a very memorable day.
A story. Oh my gosh.
It made for a memorable day. Moot got mugged. She was fine. She's tough. It would be like if I got mugged. And by the way, now in retrospect, like I could probably do the math. I'm not going to right now. Like Moot was probably like 58 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like she was probably like not old at all.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I don't know. But I was very little. I think it was before we moved to Chicago. But I saw, I mean, before we moved from Chicago to Arizona. So yeah, I was really tiny.
Oh my gosh.
It so much. It made such a huge impression on me. And I was like, I want to be one of those cats someday.
When I was 7, I think I saw our local high school's production of a play called Up the Down Staircase.
Familiar with it?
Yeah. And
classic
and then I think
high school farce. Like a farce that all high schools do.
Classic high school play. But that got me interested in doing drama. And so I immediately joined like a local theater troupe that was like adults and kids. So I took acting classes there. And so the next thing that I saw was I was a little pig in Don Quixote. Because
that's beautiful, guys.
Yeah. And then I worked my way up to marionette. So from little farm pig to marionette. Megs wants to know, how did you find your energy healer?
Honey, she found me. No, I actually met Val through The Well, which is like a spa here in New York. And they had Reiki, they offered Reiki and energy healing. And so I had seen her there, and then I became one of her clients, like privately.
Great. We love Val. She's the best. Vicky asks, of all the people you've worked with, who surprised you the most in a good or bad way? Expectation versus reality. I probably wouldn't say who surprised me in a bad way. But there have been people who have surprised me in a bad way, but less than you'd think probably. I don't know. I mean, gosh, like, I just feel like when people live up to the hype of like how famous they are and how cool they are. So, I mean, for me, Bette Midler is amazing. Joan Rivers surprised me because I just thought that, her comedy was kind of like tough on people, but she could not have been softer hearted and more loving, and actually would always be like, if I wrote some stand up for her or whatever, and then I'd like go out to see her perform it, I would never tell her that I was going because it would make her nervous to know that I was there watching her do the jokes that I wrote or whatever. And I thought that was surprising that someone after all those years wasn't like a hard boiled, jaded pro. Like she still loved it. She still got butterflies in her stomach, and she still wanted to do her best and give a good performance and make a good impression. So folks like that, Martin Short, I always love doing something with. He's everything you would hope he would be. I also really love Joanna Lumley from Absolutely Fabulous.
Who doesn't fucking love that?
Just everyone. Like truly, out of all the thousands of people that I've been so lucky to do things with, there have been like 3 that I wouldn't be eager to go back and do anything with again. And maybe someday I'll name names when they're dead. But
what was the question?
Who, out of all the people you've worked with, who surprised you the most?
I don't know if it was a surprise, but as far as like the person that I probably like had the most fan feelings for going into working with, Courtney Cox, because I was a huge Friends fan. And I learned, it wasn't surprising to me, but I loved learning how she was a human, like what kind of person she was in terms of like the most professional and super caring and like centering family on her sets and and also very involved in she was an executive producer on Cougar Town, and I watched her from day one be so involved in every aspect of that show. It wasn't like she was taking a credit that she didn't earn. Like she was involved in everything. She was watching the dailies. She was watching the cuts. She was like making notes. She was, doing all of these things. And then she ended up directing a majority of the episodes towards the later seasons. But she was always so open, so generous, and forthcoming, and also, and I've said this before on the podcast, and I'll say it again, because I was young. I was like, I was just 20, I was 29. And she was probably my age. She was probably 44 when we started working together. I never had seen a person in a position of power asking, wait, I don't understand that. Explain that to me. What is it that you mean? I actually don't know what the meaning of that word is. What does that word mean? Like, I had spent so long in my life pretending to know what people were talking about because I was terrified to ask.
Right.
For the fear of them thinking I was a fucking idiot or something.
Right.
And here's this person who's like a boss lady, super talented, really creative, like has her own great ideas, and was able and open at times to be like, wait, what is that? I don't even know. I'm sorry. I like don't know what that word means. What is that? Or to just ask a question like, I'm sorry, I'm confused. What are we doing here? And what is it that you expect of us? You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was like a fucking light bulb went off in my head. Did I ever think less of her when she asked a question? No. Turns out I never did. So why would anyone ever think less of me if I asked a question? And why have I been so fucking afraid to ask questions my entire life? Like, it was really illuminating, and of all of the gifts that I got from that show, and there were many, I love that she was the boss and she was the person that I got to see be a boss in the way that she was, because it was like always inclusive, always generous, and she never had all the answers. And that was like the greatest gift.
I love that. She seems so great.
She's great. I fucking love her. Guys, our partner has a product that Caissie and I use literally every day. We started taking Athletic Greens, both of us, because they sent it to us. And the truth is, I had this whole system of like 47 vitamins and supplements that I was supposed to take daily, and I would always manage to take 3 of them. And then Athletic Greens arrived on my doorstep, and what is it? 1 delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, and I get 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food-sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens that help me start my day right. It's a special blend that supports gut health, nervous system, my immune system, my energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all of the things. Plus, it's lifestyle friendly. So if you're vegetarian or vegan, paleo, keto, dairy-free, gluten-free, it's for you. It's for everyone. And it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything. And it still tastes so good. I love it. You can do just 1 scoop in water and mix it up. You can do it in a smoothie, which I know Caissie is a fan of. I've just been taken to just doing it in the water because I love it. It's just 1 small micro habit with big benefits, 1 thing I can do every day that I know is good for me. And I feel like I know myself. I'm never taking all those supplements. Guys, I'm never doing the routine where I'm like taking 47 different things. I need probiotics. I need I know I need all these things. Athletic Greens has it. Plus, it costs less than $3 a day. So it's investing in my health, and it's cheaper than my coffees. Right now, I want you to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just a reminder, Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews and is recommended by professional athletes and leading health experts, such as Tim Ferriss and Michael Gervais, and also just me and Caissie. It's 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy for you, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/busy. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/busy to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Oh, I'm very excited about this advertiser, guys, because Thrive Cosmetics makes a product that I literally use all the time. I recommend to people anytime I have the opportunity to in real life and on this podcast. Among them, the Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara, which has more than 25,000 5-star reviews. And I found out for a reason. Guys, let me tell you something. I am a person that has a greasy under eye. And that means that mascara is always underneath my eyes, no matter what kind of mascara, waterproof. I've tried previous tubing mascaras. It's always just ends up underneath my eyes. The first moment I put on the Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara by Thrive Cosmetics, I was hooked. I'm obsessed. First of all, it looks so great. And they use a proprietary tubing formula that wraps around each lash, and it really like lengthens and defines your lashes, and it lasts all day long. It doesn't clump. It does not smudge or flake. And I would just say the removal is super easy. It's not like the kind of thing, because previously I used to hate all of the stuff like mascara I would use, because the waterproof stuff would just stay on my eyes forever and I could never get it off. And then I would wake up in the morning and my eyes would be like irritated. Not with my Liquid Lash Extensions mascara by Thrive Cosmetics. I'm obsessed with it. I really am. I also love the Sheer Strength Hydrating Lip Tint and the Brilliant Eye Brightener. Guys, I love it all. But I personally love, it's all certified 100% vegan and cruelty-free beauty products made with clean, skin-loving ingredients. There's no parabens, sulfates, or phthalates. And it all exists without compromising performance. And it's called Thrive Cosmetics because part of their mission is that every purchase supports organizations that help communities thrive. And you can see a full list on their website. It's organizations that help people who are battling domestic abuse or homelessness and cancer and many other organizations that are very worthy. You just actually have to try Thrive Cosmetics to see for yourself. And right now you can get an exclusive 20% off your first order when you visit thrivecosmetics.com/best. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/best for 20% off your first order. Get that mascara, guys. You are not gonna be sorry. You're gonna thank me.
Katie wants to know, have either of us done IPL at our dermatologist? Yes, I have. I love it. I'm very fair.
Which one's IPL?
That's pulsed, like interpulsed laser therapy. I don't know. It's the one that like fades your like freckles.
I don't think I've done it. I don't think I've done it.
It turns your freckle into like a not.
I haven't done it. I haven't done it. I know what you're talking about. I haven't done it.
I'm very fair. I have birthmarks on both of my cheeks that when they get sun on them, they sort of come out, and then people think I have bruises on my cheeks, which is, you know, whatever, but it gets boring. People being like, what's wrong with your face? And I'm like, ugh. But IPL really turns those into like crispy. I went to get IPL, and you go to like a series, like you go 3 or 4 times or something. And like the first time I went and had it done and it was fine. And then the next time I went, the lady was like, did it hurt the last time you got this done? And I was like, no, not at all. And she was like, today we're going to hurt you. And I was like, okay.
Right.
But it didn't hurt that much. And it like faded all these things. I would love to go back someday when I have some more disposable income. That's what I'll be spending it on.
If there's anyone listening who wants to offer a paid post in the payment is IPL for Caissie, hit us up.
Oh my goodness.
No? Too far? Have I taken it too far? Okay.
No, you can never go too far for IPL. That's what I think. Busy. This is not really a question. It's more of a request, a kind request. Can you please do a boob tape tutorial? I bought boob tape and tried to watch a few videos, but they are all 20-somethings and they use so much tape. I want to learn from the expert.
I am actually an expert. Maybe
you can do that for Substack.
Okay, I'll do it for Substack. Subscribers only. Subscribers only. I will do it. I will do it for Substack. Let me get through Sweden first.
Yeah,
but I do. What would actually be interesting is like a segment on Busy Tonight where we do it with several different kinds of boobs.
Yes.
Because my boobs people think I have bigger tits than I have. I don't. They're not that big.
Boobs.
They're not that big.
The camera
they're like
adds.
The camera adds
10 boobs.
A billion boobs. No, it's like I have like full bees. Like Birdie's boobs are bigger than mine, which is
really
no. It's fun.
Wow,
it's fun.
It's not a contest. It's not, but
it's
still.
Not. Talk to her about that. No, I'm kidding. you guys, I'm totally
That's
joking.
a sobering moment when your child's boobs outgrow yours. Okay,
wait. I want to sidebar for 2 seconds.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this is in my book. I realize now maybe I need to reread it. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I think this is in my book. I need to tell you this, Caissie, because I had this realization last night.
Yes.
So Mark took Birdie and Cricket over the weekend to visit his parents, in part because his father has been on like a very rapid decline, and we're just not sure if Birdie will get a chance to see him again once she goes to school. But they were going through all of these photos while they were there, like of Mark and his brother as little kids, right? And so Birdie FaceTimed me. I mean, she's like, "You're not going to believe this picture." And she showed me a picture. And I was like, "Oh my God, I don't remember that photo of you, baby. Where did Mimi have that?" And she was like, "No, that's Dad."
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, "Oh my God." Like, it looks exactly like baby Birdie. Like, I
Wow.
thought it was Birdie at age 2.
Aw.
And then I texted Mark last night and I was like, oh my God. So, sort of infamously, and I think it's in my book, but I'm not sure, at my baby shower, my mom gave a speech that was insane, in which she started with something to the effect of, or exactly word for word, "I know that we're all hoping that the baby gets Busy's looks and Mark's wit and intellect."
Oh my gosh.
Managing to insult both of us at the same time. And just like in my typical, like she was like looking for a good line and it just like did not, Barb, miss the mark. Okay. But I had the realization last night. I'm like, holy shit. I reversed the curse that my mother tried to give me at my baby shower. But what actually happened is that Birdie has Mark's face and my wit and intellect. She is so fucking me in every way, like personality wise.
Yeah.
And she's got like Mark's face and his build and his body, and like she looks exactly like him. Isn't that
so
crazy?
funny. That's wild. Huh.
I reversed the curse.
Both our kids are like a weird mix of us, and not a weird mix, like just a mix of us. Eli looks like my grandfather and my cousin, but they're both weirdly tall. Like there's no reason that they should both be 6'2".
Yeah, it is weird. I do think that's strange. Whenever I see them, I'm like, bizarre.
It's very weird. And they're always hugging us and they're like a full head taller than us. And it just looks like they don't belong to us, but they do. I was there. I remember vividly each of them
Cricket
coming
looks
out of
exactly
me.
like me.
Does she? I think
She looks
a
like
little
my
Mark,
sister.
too. Oh, that makes sense. She looks a little like your, like your
my niece.
sister and like your niece. Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
I
she
see
looks
that.
a lot like my side of the family.
Yeah. She also looks like my stepbrother, which is wild because they're not related at all.
Aren't they? No, I'm kidding.
I don't know.
All right.
She looks like him when he was little.
Let's go to our next question.
Amber wants to know, she lives one town over from where I lived in Westport, Connecticut, wants to hear more about running into Eartha Kitt at the grocery store. Because I had like a family, I would always do the rounds of grocery stores to get particular things. And I would always run into Eartha Kitt at Shaw's Market. And I would always run into Brett Summers from Match Game at Trader Joe's. They both loved children. So they would both always come up and talk to the kids. The kids were shy. And I would try to explain to them that Eartha Kitt was like Catwoman, from Batman. And, but she really did have that Eartha Kitt voice. And so the kids would kind of be like, "Oh my gosh, who's this lady?" But she really loved children, and she would always talk so proudly about her daughter and her family. And she was just really friendly. Like I would never in a million years have approached Eartha Kitt. She came up to say hi to me because I had kids in my cart. And same with Brett Summers. She was hilarious. She even offered to babysit one time if I was ever stuck for a babysitter, which I thought was so sweet. And I was like, could you imagine having Brett Summers? But the kids had no frame of reference for Match Game, so they didn't know. But yeah, I would see Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward around town. And I knew them a little bit because I had worked with Paul Newman on a car project that he was doing with David Letterman. He's actually the reason why I moved to Westport, because when we wanted to move out of the city, I had been to Westport many times because Paul Newman had invited me to some events there. And so that's how I became familiar with the town of Westport. And also my old writing partner lived a couple towns over in Weston. Yeah, so that's really it. I don't have any really like wild stories other than it's wild to see Eartha Kitt in Shaw's Market. Ashley wants to say thank you to us. We have genuinely changed the way that she thinks and acts in her own life, and her life has changed for the better. She was promoted at work, but that's just one thing that has happened since listening to the podcast, and she loves her job now. What was the plan pre-podcast after Busy Tonight? I think we have kind of said, I think what we were looking for, and which weirdly would have kind of circumvented all of this trouble, is that we were looking to do like all the strikes and everything that, you know, like the industry is kind of it's in like a spiral right now, and it'll be interesting to see how it comes out of it. We were just trying to like make a show that was independently funded, possibly by a brand, like let's say like, I don't know, a nut brand or something. Like if some company that sold nuts wanted to give us money to make a little show, then we just wanted to figure out how to get that show to people. And it wasn't something...
Yeah, basically what happened was that I had such great experiences working directly with these brands and advertisers, doing my like all kinds of stuff, like campaigns, but then also like just paid posts for Instagram. And I was like, there's so much money here, and they pay to advertise on networks, and that, historically speaking, is what has funded television shows.
Except so much of that money has to go to paying executives and other salaries of other people at the network. And so
what if we just cut out the middleman and we just like went directly to the advertisers and were like, hey, we want to make this show. This is how much money we need. You would be like the only sponsor of it. Do you want to do that?
Right.
And we were getting a lot of traction on the idea, TBH. And then, maybe you guys have heard of it, but a pandemic happened. And it really put everything like in a state of hold, like a pause, like a long elongated shift of everything. Anyway, so we had been doing like a podcast sort of centered around the idea that we were trying to like convince these brands to let us do this shit. And then the pandemic happened, and then we like scrapped all those episodes of the podcast. And then we're like, well, wait, what are we going to do? And we decided to just do a podcast about pivots.
Because that's what we were trying to do. And so,
we were trying to figure out what the fuck we were going to do. So that's what happened. Origin story.
That's our origin story, our villain origin story. MM wants to know, what are the key tricks for writing jokes in someone else's voice, and in what ways does it add unexpected layers
That's
to
for
the
you.
comedy? I think you can write the best joke in the world, and if it's not in the voice of the person for whom you're writing it to perform, then it's useless to them. So Yeah, that's one thing that I think is another strength of mine. I think I watch people really closely. And while I'm not like an impressionist, I can do like a pretty good mental impression of most people that I watch. And my goal is always to mostly give somebody something that's so them so that they feel like, like they're putting on a pair of shoes that they don't even have to break in. At the same time, maybe depending on who it is, like pushing them to explore and expand their material, their repertoire, their persona a little bit. But it's mostly just paying attention to like, A, what they talk about in the first place, and B, how they talk about it. And, it's a lot like acting. It's like putting yourself in the mind of this character and figuring out like what is their motivation and how do I express that and get a punchline at the end that works for this person. So yeah, that's kind of it. I don't know if that's a great answer, but that's true. Emily wants to know if you could go back or forward in time, which would you choose and why?
I don't know. I mean, I guess back.
I would go back in time because that's something that you can't do. Like we're going forward no matter what.
Yeah. We're already forward.
Right
now.
So, and we will continue to go forward, and that doesn't require any magic. So if magic entered the chat, I would go back just because I think it'd be fun to relive some cool stuff and maybe pay closer attention, take better note of things, enjoy things more instead of being afraid. And, that's assuming that like I could get back to where I am. Or, I mean, would I choose to, if I could go back in time and just get dropped there and I would have to relive everything over again? I'm not sure, but maybe I would do it. I don't know. We're just talking about how short life is. So, maybe I would do it. But definitely the answer is back.
Yeah, I think for me too. Back. Take me back.
This is a good question, I think, and I've wondered it myself in the past. Do you know if Kim Kelly was named after the Deal sisters, Kim and Kelly Deal from The Breeders?
I don't know.
It's just a great name, but
I'm going to kind of say no. I'm going to say
you're going to say no.
Not. Yeah, I'm going to say probably not. But I could be wrong. But I'm going to say
interesting. Okay, one more, like just for people that want to know. People love this kind of question. Can you go over your skincare routine with brands?
You and me?
Yeah. What's your current skincare routine?
All right. I use so many products.
Do you?
Yes.
Can I just say something? With love, you own so many products.
I have so many products.
Your bathroom is like a Sephora.
It is 100%. You should see what we're bringing to Sweden for Birdie. What she's like, what are her must brings? I'm like, holy shit, girl. These kids are going to think you're fucking nuts. Well, she's American. Anyway, I really like the Biologique Recherche products. Biologique Recherche.
Okay.
They've got this toner that's P50 1970 is the one I use. It's like an exfoliating toner. And I really do think it makes a difference, but I like that face wash, VIP02. But there are lots of, will switch up a face wash. I will do it. And I also, similarly, I switch up a serum. But here's the thing that always exists, no matter what the products are, because I switch my products around.
Yeah.
There is a face wash. If I'm working and I'm wearing a lot of makeup, if you're a person that wears a lot of makeup, I highly recommend a double cleanse.
Same. Yeah.
So if I'm working, nor in IRL, I don't wear any makeup like on my face. So in real life, I'm just washing my face once with a cleanser. Then I'm using my toner, which is an exfoliating toner. So I don't like exfoliate using anything like granular.
Right.
I exfoliate using acid. Then I apply serums depending on time of day and also skincare needs. Serums change. I love the Facile line that my dermatologist in Los Angeles came out with. It's Facile. I love Oak, OAK. They have a really, that's Jenny Kane's line that she came up with, like skincare line. She has super hydrate. I love the face oil that she has. And she has this balm that in the winter is incredible. Okay, so, but there's serums. And then after this, and at night I use a retinol, generally speaking. Sometimes I do it every 3 nights though, because I'm sensitive skin vibes. And I don't use a prescription retinol. I use an over the counter. And in the mornings, a lot of times I like a vitamin C. In the summertime, my skincare routine is very much pared back because if you're going to spend a lot of time in the sun, even though I'm always wearing an SPF, it's just not the time to put a lot of chemicals and activating shit on your face. It just doesn't. Because it can have bad reactions to sun.
Yes.
So, but I like a vitamin C serum. You have to be careful. You put vitamin C serum on your face and then let it sink in, soak in, whatever it is. Let it sit. It doesn't like other serums. So you have to let it really get in your skin before you add other serums. And then I do a moisturizer. And that depends. I really do I really like the Biologique line of moisturizers. I love the Vernex in the winter. I also like Eve L'Homme, Eve, and then it's LOM. I also like, I'm looking over there. I can't tell. I don't know what that is. I've mentioned 17 products. I think you're good.
What do I use? I use Pears soap on my face when I'm in the shower, but when I wash my face out of the shower, I use Thrive Cosmetics. They have a very lemony scented, very thick face wash. You just need the smallest dot of it and it makes a tons of suds. I also do 1-2 cleansing. I use whatever oil I have for the first step of the cleansing. It doesn't really matter to me. I would use olive oil or coconut oil, but I also just have tons of little oils that I use to rub off my makeup. I'm also a big fan of those furry washcloths that are the name brand is Makeup Eraser, but I bet there's tons of different brands that you can find. Those I do oil cleanse, then foaming cleanse or sudsy cleanse, and then use that makeup face cloth to get everything off. They wash really well, so don't worry if they get all gross because all that makeup's going to come out in the laundry. I use a lot of products from The Ordinary, their niacinamide serum. I use their buffet peptides with copper. I use just a lot of things, and it's really inexpensive, so you can try a ton of things, and if it doesn't work for you, you're out $7, and it's not the biggest deal in the world. And they also give really good instructions about how to pair things.
I like The Ordinary.
Yeah, I like what they've got going on. And then sunscreen is so important. I use strictly Korean sunscreen because I have really sensitive skin. Those are chemical sunscreens, which I know some people are afraid of. They work for me. I always use anything that's a watery essence or milky jelly or whatever. And that just means that it's not a heavy cream with titanium dioxide in it or whatever. It's chemical sunscreen in a very gel easy to absorb base. I put it on literally first thing in the morning, the second my eyes open up, even if I'm going to wash my face or whatever in an hour or so after I have coffee, I still put sunscreen on. My house is all windows. I can get a sunburn in my house. So I put it on the second I wake up, and sometimes I put it on before bed. And I just reapply it if I'm washing my face or whatever. What else do I use? I also use a Good Molecules, the brand Good Molecules. I use their retinol lotion because that one, not lotion, but it's like a cream in a little tube. That one is not too harsh for me. I have tried prescription retinoids before and they just
they peel your fucking face off.
That's
for
they
me.
always like
For me,
whenever
that's my
you try to read
experience.
like on Reddit like skincare addiction or whatever, they're like your skin just has to purge and like get used to it and adjust to it. And I'm like, I've been adjusting for 1 year. I look like a flaky pastry puff. So so I don't need that. But a retinoid is really helpful and great. So so I use that. And then, like red light mask. I like a red light mask. I stay out of the sun religiously. And that's about it.
I think we nailed it.
We didn't nearly get to all of the questions that you all sent in, so maybe we'll do this again another time. And if you have more questions in the meantime, send them in. But happy August.
Oh my God, you guys. You know what? Go be present in the August haze.
Have safe
Go do
travels.
something fun.
Have safe travels if you're traveling. Safe travels to you and your family. Busy.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you all soon. And
we're going to talk to you soon. We love you.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh no.